a natural living show you didn't know you needed. I'm your host and life coach, Rabia Carvalho, and we're talking birds, bees, butterflies, and blooms, growing food in garden rooms, home-based holistic healing, and much more. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or nature lover, plant assassin, or permaculture professional, we got you. We got you. Let us bring you the ideas, the facts, support, and inspiration to go green wherever you are. Sundays 9 to 10 a.m. only on Radio Al Ansar.
Boom, 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 boom.
A little boy went first day at school. He got some crayon, then he started to draw. He put colors all over the paper. For colors was what he saw. The teacher said, "What you doing, young man?"
"I'm painting flowers, see?"
"Well, this is not the time for art, young man. And anyway, flowers are green and red. There's a time for everything, young man. A way things should be done. You got to show concern for everyone else. You're not the only one." And she said, "Flowers are red. Green leaves are green. There's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen." But the little boy said,
"There are so many colors in the rainbow, so many colors in the morning."
Hey, it's Green Thumbs Up Day. So many colors in the rainbow. So many colors lately. Oh my hat in a basket of eggs. Have you realized how hot it has been? It has been so hot. But you're here now in the coolness of Green Thumbs Up. Yes, you're with Radio Al Ansar. And whether you're joining us on 90.4 FM in Durban or 105.6 in Pietermaritzburg, Assalamu alaikum and welcome. I'm Rabia Carvalho. You're tuned into that Dini connection with the Jannah intention, Radio Al Ansar. And we are that show, that Green Thumbs Up, the show where everybody's an expert and nobody has all the answers. But together we grow. And what do we grow? What do we grow? Brother Asfat Fili, our sound engineer, is going to tell us, what do we grow? What do we grow? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What do we grow on this show?
Plants.
Everything.
Everything.
If it grows, we are going to talk about it at some point.
I was actually going to say we grow older.
Oh, wow. Ooh, the wisdom. The plot is sequat this one this morning. Yes. Yo, it has been hot though, and the plants have been feeling it. And so if you're out there, please remember, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. Dehydration is real. It happens. So please be sure to keep your hats on, keep your sunblocks on, put a sprig of elderberry in your hat while you're gardening, or Melissa to keep the bugs away, and stay safe out there in gardening land. Today is an interesting gardening show because we're talking recipes, galore recipes about everything. And you know how I feel about plant health or plant food-based health. Our health starts on our plates. And so I talk a lot about herbs. We have Nature's Apothecary on this show. Normally we start with gloves on, where we talk about actually doing the gardening, the thing, what grows the things. But today we're going to switch her up. We're going to be talking to a lovely young lady about how we prepare the food, because health starts on our plate. And then I'm going to be giving you recipes after recipes after recipes for everything from fertilizers to pesticides. And I want to know your recipes. If you have a hack that works for you, please won't you WhatsApp it to us. You never know who it's going to help. And charity starts at home. So here at Al Ansar, with our Al Ansar family, that is you, the listeners, and us, the studio folks. Yes, we want to know those secrets. So WhatsApp them to 060 904 1056. And while you're at it, won't you answer a riddle for me? I thought of this in the car on the way here. And it goes like this. Riddle me this, riddle me that. I know it's a riddle, but what is that? Ha! You're going to have to Google this one. Riddle me this, riddle me that. I know it's a riddle, but what is that? Do you know? Please WhatsApp us. I can't wait to find out with you. So your recipes, that's what we're doing. You're sending us your recipes and you are sending us the answer to that riddle. What is a riddle? I know, but do you know? I don't know. Well, folks, our first guest is on the line with us. And who are we going to be speaking to? Well, her name is Samira Ismail. Chef Sam. Yes, that's who we're speaking to today. Because why? Because we grow the foods so that we can use the foods. And we use the foods for the bodies and for the health. We want to get big and strong. And so we don't eat our jungle oats. We eat the foods from the gardens, which is much better for us. So, Buddy Govender, my colleague, was mentioning in his show just before this, he was talking about, you know, how expensive it is to buy fresh vegetables, particularly if you're dealing with organic vegetables and fruit and produce like eggs. And you think now, oh gosh, now is it better? And truly, the frozen is better, because if you're thinking about buying from a store, because they pick it ripe. They pick it ripe. Whereas, you know, your bananas that you end up buying at the shop have been picked green like 3 months ago, and then they've been on a truck, and then they've been handled by this one, that one, and the next one. And so when they get picked green, they are not bursting with goodness. But to talk to us about how we preserve that goodness is Chef Sam. Assalamu alaikum, Samira. How are you?
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Rabia?
Alhamdulillah. It's so good to have you on the show with us this morning. We're starting with the food and then working our way back to how to grow it. Now, you're a chef, and for the listener at home, how do I know Chef Samira Ismail? Chef Sam actually and I bumped into one another. We were sat next to each other at a wedding of a famous Al Ansar celebrity recently.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The
And we got to chatting and we were like, wow, okay, we need to have you on the show and talk about this fresh produce. But like, how do you, let's set the scene first. How did you start cooking? Like, where did that passion for cooking come from?
Okay, so I love the introduction. Very hearty, nice. And first, have to say that it's a complete honor to be on.
Our signal
Lovely.
here, is not good. Shall we call you back? We'll just try this call again.
Sure, no problem.
You're
we could do
breaking up
that.
terribly. We want to hear every word she has to say. So let's just try that call again and get Chef Sam on the line. In the meantime, have you guessed the riddle yet? Riddle me this, riddle me that. I know it's a riddle, but what is that? Have you guessed the riddle yet? Let us know while we get Chef Sam back on the line on 0609041056. Sam, are you back with us?
I am back.
There you go. Awesome. So how did that journey, that passion start?
Yeah, so as I was saying before I jump into that, I just want to say it's a lovely honor to be on your show. I love the energy. I've heard your show a couple of times. Both my mom and I have heard it, and we were like, you know, this Rabia's show is
Alhamdulillah.
amazing. The show is wonderful. So kudos to you of doing an excellent job.
Alhamdulillah.
So when it comes to the little bit of the inspiration behind my decision of being a chef, it stems straight to, I think, the authentic, I would say the traditional rather, of my grandmother, my nani, which is my mom's mom. She is, she's late now. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant her qabr with abundant noor, ameen, and grant her jannah, ameen. So she was, I feel, in my opinion, the best cook. And my mom definitely took traits from her, which I'm so happy about. And hopefully I would say that I am successful and I've made it in life the day that they tell me that I cook like my nani or I cook exactly like my mom. So that's the goal.
Mashallah, that is
So-
adorable. Absolutely. Our nannies, nannies is the mother's mother, hey? And then the father's mother would be the daddy.
It's daddy.
Aha,
correct.
so our nannies and our daddies did it best. And so did our moms.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You could say that again. And nothing will ever beat a grandmom's cooking. Nothing at all. And then obviously it's our mothers. So I know most guys are very, particular with their mom's cooking, and they give
Yeah.
their wives real trouble about it, which is so wrong. But anyways, I am like that with my mom. I feel like nobody can even touch her cooking. Nobody can come close to it. So I'm like the guy version of how they are with their moms when it comes
Yeah.
to cooking.
You
I've
know,
gotten in trouble a lot about that. But it's fine.
look, if you have a mom that can cook and a granny that can cook, you really are blessed. Truly, there's,
We
you
need
know,
to own it.
hey, they can make you a
Correct.
peanut butter and jam sandwich, and yet it tastes like the best thing because they make it with the loves. It's all the loves that go in
Absolutely.
there. Mm.
And Rabia, there's no such thing as ingredients list in terms of like the quantities and the
Yeah.
specific, there's just like, okay, that curry is not looking very red, or it's not looking like a curry. Let's add this in. Okay, but why are you adding this in? Oh, because of, so it's a thing. Yeah, it's a thing that they don't believe in quantities and stuff. And it's just something I think we adapt over time.
So it's so interesting that you say that with cooking, because it's the same with gardening. We kind of like trial and error in some cases. We have all these recipes and we try the one thing and we try the other. And later on, dear listener, when I talk about neem oil recipe, you'll see why I'm saying this. But now, Samira, you must have some farm fresh secrets for us, I'm sure. But what is your favorite farm fresh produce to cook with?
Garlic. I
Garlic.
absolutely love garlic. Garlic is my favorite.
See, I knew I
There's
liked you.
just, there's just something about fresh garlic.
Oh.
And even the processed one. I mean, it's fine. You can still use it. Why not? It's chilled. But there's just something about that fresh garlic, and it's really nice and fresh when it's sticky on your fingers. When you're cutting it. Yes, and I'm sure if many housewives and chefs and cooks and stuff have experienced this, or maybe just trying it out for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
When you want to take the wrapper, not the wrapper. What is this? What's the right
The skin.
word? The peel.
Yes.
The peel
Yes.
off the garlic. Then obviously you take the back of your knife and you just like hit it down. After you've taken out each garlic piece from the bulb itself.
Yes.
That's what we call it, the garlic bulb.
Yes.
So once you take out the little cute pieces of garlic and the peel is still on, you just smack it at the back of your knife.
Yes.
Sorry, you smack the back of your knife on the garlic, press it down,
Yes.
and then it'll split a little bit, and then your peel will be a lot easier to take out.
100%.
And then when you start cutting it, you'll feel the stickiness of it, and that's when your garlic, and that should be mostly with the purplish garlic that you get.
Now, it's interesting you're talking about
Yes.
the freshness of garlic. So I've grown garlic. I am growing garlic still. I always grow garlic. And you can grow garlic by just taking one of the garlic cloves and putting it into a pot of soil in your house with a pointy part sticking up, just below the soil. And here's the thing about fresh garlic that's literally just pulled out of the ground. It does not smell like garlic. It does not taste like garlic. It tastes nutty and fresh.
That's it. There we go.
Oh, it's amazing.
Robs, you're doing the things, because
doing
that's
the things.
exactly how it should be. It has to have that authentic nutty flavor, and you literally taste the difference.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part of it, that we do have the potential. Some of us do have the space. In fact, it's not even about space. Just put a pot plant,
Yes.
and obviously maintain it, so you don't have like a whole like a farm growing, but maintain it so that you are able to have these little cute pot plants at home with your garlic, your radish, and your dhania, and all of that
Now
kind
you
of stuff.
speak my language. Now you
It's
speak my
beautiful.
language.
And Robs, it makes the house look pretty. I mean, imagine seeing this little cute radish there.
Yes.
Just like that plant, that root vegetable, or that dhania, or
Yes.
whatever it is. The leaves itself, if you're not looking, I mean, okay, yes, if it's a root vegetable, if it's any other vegetable, and if you're not seeing the actual product of it, the leaves still look pretty. But there's greenery in your house. It attracts a lot of, a lot of the healthy vibes.
Yes.
You see that mentally, there's so many benefits to it.
For
Mentally, you feel okay. So even with garlic, because it's garlic, I'll probably have more attention on garlic. But there's one thing that a lot of people don't know. Well, some people do actually, because they would eat it raw or they would blend it in.
Yeah.
But garlic actually cures a cold. And how it does that is two things. It lowers your blood pressure level and your cholesterol level.
That's right.
So that's why they say you must always have a lot of garlic, because it contains this chemical called, I think it's called allicin, which is like an antioxidant.
Yes.
So that helps. Like
Yeah,
that,
listen.
it's responsible.
It's interesting. I love garlic, and it's not just because of blood pressure that it cures the flu. And I love that you're talking about this. Garlic is one of those things that will heal the gut, and our health, our immune system, and mood is made in the gut. So
That's it.
garlic is going to get rid of those parasites, which we all need to deparasite. If you think you have no parasites and you're special, then let me tell you, you ain't so special. Because if you're a human and you have a body, you probably have parasites at some point. But now you've told us about your favorite. What's your pet peeve in terms of fresh produce?
Oh my God, I cannot even think of any because I have I'm blank right now. I'm
You're
always
blank.
I'm always about the benefit side. Oh my God, I don't even know. I do know, but I can't think of it right now.
So if it's not fresh, then it's
Yeah,
not.
no, definitely. And it's just I think when vegetables just when you open that packet of potatoes
Mhm.
or that sack of potatoes, and then there's just a couple of rotten ones.
Oh, it's not
my God, I
nice.
cannot. I cringe. I actually cringe.
Ah!
I cringe.
Now I'm a fruit fundi, and I love tasting exotic fruits and different fruits. Now, what is the best fruit that you've ever eaten?
I'm just gonna stick with tradition here, and it's always gonna be lychees and watermelon. That's my favorite.
Did you say
That is my
lychees?
ultimate. Yeah, lychees and watermelon are
Wow.
my favorites.
Okay.
It's nothing. I can go around the world, but nothing beats those. Nothing. I think I'm saying this as a Durbanite though,
Mm-hmm.
because we've grown up with it and we've had it, and it's just come December we're ready for our our lychees and our mango, and we're ready for it. But to top it up, it's always going to be lychees and watermelon. I have tried different fruits when I was in Doha, but I haven't tried exotic fruits. But yes, the fruits in Doha are a lot fresher. And Istanbul,
Yes.
Istanbul, the fruits are just delicious. And and when I went for Hajj last year. So when I was in it was Makkah. Yes, when we moved to Makkah, then we had a lot of fresh juices, and you can
Yes.
actually taste the difference between a fresh juice made here in South Africa and a fresh juice made overseas, whether it's wherever it is. You
Yeah.
can literally taste the difference. It is stunning.
The biomes in the soil are different. So what
Yeah.
you're going to find is everything tastes different depending on where you go. Some places are known for their dairy products. The dairy just tastes different. I know in Europe it certainly is the dairy.
Yes.
And you go into Ireland with all of those, all of the butter and all of the potatoes. Isn't it just wonderful in Ireland? Or you go out
I
to
love it.
you go out to Portugal, and there, we like the breads, we like the pastas, we like the pastries, and it's all because of the butter. The butter and the milk.
Absolutely. And that's how it is. The creaminess of dairy and stuff like that is so authentic in the in the Italian cuisine. The burrata cheese, when
Yes.
you open it up, you can see that. I mean, that's when you
Mm.
know it. Just yesterday, another chef and I, we were just talking about it, and they had cut open burrata cheese. Oh
wow.
my God, it was beautiful. So for those people who don't actually know what it is,
Mm.
it comes from the mozzarella family. So it's a lot creamier. Mozzarella, we know how it's made. It's a long process. It's a very tedious process. You've got to give it love. I know you've got to always give food love, but when it comes to certain curations of food items or
Yes.
ingredients, you've got to give it extra love. There's no
Yes.
two ways about it.
No,
it
there
is
are a
what it
few
is.
shortcuts. I must give you my mozzarella shortcut. Maybe one day we'll do a cheese show together. Maybe that will be nice. This is gardening
Rob,
and natural living.
Robs, you're not supposed to tell the chef about shortcuts.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay, no shortcuts. Thou shalt
You
do
know,
it the long and burdensome way.
this is actually weird because again, I was having a conversation. The chefs and I were supposed to be making masala chai,
Yes.
and I was like, guys, why are we gonna make it the long way? Let's make karak. And the one chef looks at me and he's like, "Ka what?" And I was like, karak. And the other chef was like, "Okay, what is it?" So I explained to them what it is, and it's like a powder form, and it's like, the Arabic version of masala chai and all of that stuff. And then the one chef looks at me, he's like, well, that sounds like a cheat. I was like, chef, it is. So yes, we do have some cheat moments, but we can't when it comes to
Oh man. Now,
So, yeah.
speaking of cheats, we've got like 4 minutes left, and I just wanted to check with you now, in terms of cooking, too many people cook their food till it's dead, like dead,
I hate
and then
that.
go
I hate
beyond
that,
that to dead. Whether it is rice, which let's face it is pretty much processed already, or you making a curry, or you whatever, everything is cooked until kind of everything's falling apart. Now, do you have some
But you know,
tips?
Rob, that's the problem with our Desi Indian Muslim culture.
Okay.
And it's not to throw shade on a type of race or anything, but I have noticed this. And as a chef, being in different institutes, hotels, centers, different cuisines, different people, different caliber of people, and different environments, and the cooking, obviously, that's what I'm referring to, not just the people. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've actually seen it. I mean, simple things like, okay, let's take something super simple, like shakshuka.
Yes.
So shakshuka is a traditional Tunisian dish. It is bomb.com. I love it. But now us, the Indian people, know it as egg chutney, right? But let's not do that. Let's call it for what it is. It is shakshuka. So basically what it is, you've got to make a spicy red tomato chutney, right? You put in your garlic, lots of garlic.
Yes.
You tomatoes, fresh tomatoes. If you got Roma tomatoes, use that. It's brilliant. It's Italian's best. Well, one of Italian's best. And we're so lucky to get it here in South Africa. So use that. But don't go and blend it up. No, I like to use sometimes cherry tomatoes and let that pop. And once it's popping, add tiny bit of water if you like. And once it's popping, you'll see it getting soft. Smash it down. You've got the rough look of the actual authentic tomatoes. And then you add in your spices, or you can toast it in with the onions. It's up to you. You then obviously do your eggs. And then the last bit is the peppers. So that's what makes it so much more different, sweet and spicy, because of sweetness from the green peppers, specifically green peppers. You don't even blanch it. You don't let it simmer. You don't do anything. You cut up your peppers, your green peppers, in a rustic way, like diamond shapes, and you pop it in there and let it steam for a little bit. That's it.
Sure.
With your egg chutney. That's it. And here we are having people sauteing the green peppers with the onions, then putting in the pureed
Oh
tomato.
my hat! It's not just shakshuka.
Oof, I can't. As I said this on one of my TikTok videos, it grates my livers. I cannot deal.
Grates your livers.
So much.
I like that. Well, tell me now. You've given us the one thing, which is, with the shakshuka. But do you have any in 2 minutes, a little, just 1 or 2 tips for cooking that will help us when we're preparing fresh farm produce that we've taken out of our gardens? What should we know about how to prepare it to maintain the goodness in it, apart from don't kill it?
I love this question because I'm going to keep it very simple. If we're going to go in depth, then people are going to get nervous about it. So we're going to keep it super simple. And also we've got a minute left.
Yes.
So when it comes to this, yes, it's fresh. That's the key word. If you want to use, and if you want to say, okay, no, I made this from my garden and stuff like that, as many people have said, and as you have said it, and you've owned it, I can hear it, I've seen your stuff, you've prepared really authentic things. Whereas with other people, when you get fresh stuff, okay, if you're unable to get it from like your garden, go to, once in a while, if you cannot do it all the time, once in a while, go to this organic supplier. And I mean, you get it at the markets. There's so many wonderful markets in and around Durban, and I love that. Try the different ones. Simple.
Yes.
Like onions or tomatoes, and then you build up on your radishes and other ingredients, and then you can taste the difference. So when it comes to cooking, try not to freeze your fresh, you're getting it from the supermarket. Try not to freeze it in a hurry, because then, for example, tomatoes, let's not even go to freezing. If you cube it up and you pop it in the fridge overnight, you take it out, you can feel it's not gone off, but there's a slight sliminess to it. And it just doesn't feel nice. You're putting it on a pizza or your hajari sandwiches or whatever it is, and it's just, you can feel that. So when it comes to that, wash it out nicely, use fresh ingredients if you are able to, and make sure that it is washed properly.
So you're saying taste the difference. That's our first tip. I'm just keeping you on track because we're running out of time. So first thing is
the
to,
difference.
right?
Yeah, actually, once in a while, treat yourself to organic produce. So that's the first thing. Treat yourself to organic produce. The next thing, try and taste the difference, do a comparison. And the third thing is try and keep it as fresh as possible in terms of the maintenance of it. Wash it out, cut it up, and cook it at the same time. That's how you're giving a lot of character and foundation to the dish that you're making, especially when it comes to pastas and pizzas. It's very important.
There you go. Get it fresh, cook it fresh, eat it fresh, not
There you
dead.
go. Yeah, and try not to freeze it in a hurry.
Okay.
Like, I hate when people freeze pasta, cooked pasta.
Well, oh no.
I can't. It cringes me out. Again, it grates my livers. You can boil it up and whatever it is, but use it fresh and retain that pasta water. It's so important to do that.
Oh, pasta water is full of goodness. It's great
There
for
we
the
go.
garden. It's good for the plants, and it's good for us as well. Cook your rice in pasta
Absolutely.
water. Cook your pasta in rice water. Make some cheese
a
and
few
use that
curries even.
water. Oh yes, absolutely.
Chickpeas, correct.
So many things we can do. So keep it fresh, keep it focused, and keep it healthy,
Do your
Chef Sam.
comparison. Yes.
Do your comparisons. Yes. Thank you
Do it.
so much, Jazakallah khair, for being on the show this
Ameen,
morning,
Ya Rab.
for chatting to
It's
us.
only a pleasure.
And
It's an honor to be here.
we could talk forever.
Definitely. We will,
Okay.
though, in our next show that we do, hopefully soon.
Inshallah.
teasers.
Inshallah. I mean,
Ameen.
that's it, folks. Do you happen to know what a riddle is, Chef Samira?
I didn't actually hear the riddle, but I'm not very good with riddles. My mom is very good with riddles.
Oh, well, ask her. What is a riddle? A riddle. Until we speak again, Chef Samira, Jazakallah for being on the show, and Assalamu alaikum to you. May you keep growing onwards and upwards in your career as a chef, inshallah. Ameen. We're going to take a quick little ad break, and we'll be right back after this. Don't go away. I'm getting into the recipes right after this.
Radio Ansar. Come get our butcher's best for less at Checkers Foods Kawi Park. Enjoy certified halal butchery products like half lamb, just $89.99 per kg. Dunya sausages, just $99.99 per kilo. All beef roast, $99.99 per kg. Steakhouse classic ribeye on the bone, just 90 Rand per kg. Beef chuck or blade and brisket, just $89.99 per kg. Deals are valid from October 31st to November 3rd, only at Checkers Foods Kawi Park. Now certified by the NIHT, the National Independent Halal Trust, across our butchery, bakery, and deli.
Your style upgrade is here. J. Jamshed's Bring Spring Sale with up to 50% off on all items. From 23rd October to 3rd November 2024, shop in stores or online at va.junajamsheds.com.
Hungry for flavor? Head over to Nando's Pavilion, Westville Mall, or Oceans Mall, where our flame-grilled peri-peri chicken is always fresh and flavorful. Experience our hospitality by dining in at Nando's Pavilion, Westville Mall, or Oceans Mall, which are all NIHT certified, and stand a chance to win a holiday getaway for four, valued at 10,000 Rand at the Umschlanger Sands. Nando's! Fire it up! Come get our butcher's best for less at Checkers Foods Kawi Park. Enjoy certified halal butchery products like chicken breast fillets, just $59.99 per kg. Tenderized beef steak, just $89.99 per kg. Bulk lean beef mint, just $89.99 per kilo. Texan steak, $89.99 per kg. And leg of lamb, just $149.99 per kilo. Deals are valid from October 31st to November 3rd, only at Checkers Foods Kawi Park. Now certified by the NIHT, the National Independent Halal Trust, across our butchery, bakery, and deli.
Join me, Zora Khan, and other leading ladies at an exciting ladies-only Mahfil-e-Naat program on the 10th of November at the Al Ansar Hall, 189 West Road, Overport. Time 2 to 5 p.m. Don't miss out on this opportunity and book your tickets at 150 Rand at the Al Ansar Bookshop, or contact Zoha on 0633 079 237. See you there.
Radio Ansar.
Welcome back to Green Thumbs Up. And we've just had Chef Samira on the line and telling us to taste the freshness, taste the difference, treat yourself to organic. We've got a message that has come in from MH Osman, and it says, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Rabia. Wa alaikum salam. Good listening to you. I remember my grandparents and parents used palm tree branches to sweep the yard. When I visited India, I saw villagers using the same to sweep their yards and the roads. How beautiful is that? Paint me a picture in words. Absolutely lovely. There's so many traditions that we retain. And sweeping with palm leaves. Beautiful. Another message that's come in, Assalamu alaikum. Would like to share this with you, Sister Rabia. This was, and she sent me a photograph of a plant that is in a cut off bottle, like a 2-liter Coke bottle, that kind of a thing. This was a tiny sunflower given to little Abdullah in preschool, and its stem broke. Oh, a young smart horticulturist took it and bandaged the broken stem and regrew it with lots of love and care. Now this is now what it has grown into, a tall, beautiful sunflower. Oh, subhanallah. Question now. What and how should little Abdullah now take care of this going forward? Jazakallah for a beautiful program. So that is beautiful, a little sunflower. And sometimes bushes get hit by falling stones or heavy winds, and it is possible to bandage it if you catch it soon enough. And if that branch is not like a really heavy branch, if it's a green stem, then you can certainly take care of it, and it should heal. Like us, we bend, but we don't necessarily break right off. If it's broken off, then often that doesn't work. But if it's broken and it's kind of hanging off, you should be able to bind it together pretty quickly. How to look after it? The first thing I would do would be to take it out of that small little bottle, because that small little bottle is doing it a little bit of a disservice. It's a tall flower, but we want to give it more soil. Now, it's interesting about sunflowers. We think there's one big flower, but actually the sunflower is a very different kind of flower. With that flower that you're looking at, that big yellow thing with all the black dots of seeds in the middle, it's actually, think of it as a uterus, with every little seed in there being a separate individual little flower. So take that sunflower, I would say wait until it is going to seed. Take that soil, try not to disturb the soil at all, possibly cut around the bottle, take that right out and put it into the ground ideally, or into a large pot. The bigger the better in this case, because you're wanting the roots to be able to expand and to keep producing sunflowers for you. So that it will drop its seeds and the seeds will germinate, and these are self-sown. So typically they will grow very, very well. If you see them lying on the soil, you can add a thin little layer of compost over them, fine compost, and that is where the riddle comes in. Fine compost over it and let it grow. Now, what is a riddle? What is a riddle? A riddle actually is a giant sieve, because when we are growing our vegetables, sometimes we want to get rid of all of those sticks and stones that may be in the compost or the potting soil that we buy. And so we use a riddle. There we go. Riddle me this, riddle me that. What is a riddle? Well, that's what that is. A riddle is a giant sieve for using in the gardening. Now, we've spoken a little bit about food preservation. In the past, we've spoken about making jams, and we've spoken about, preserving fruits and vegetables. But what do we make for our plants to actually give our plants some food? And this occurred to me because I was binge learning about orchids a few nights ago. I was binge learning about orchids, and I thought, gosh, I need to give my orchids a little bit of extra whoop-whoops. And what I did was I brewed it up a cup of coffee. Yes, I did. Made a cup of coffee for my orchids. And then I let that coffee cool down, and I added some sugar, because sugar gives us energy when you're a flower. Yes, very good to add that. And then I also added to that just a touch of Epsom salts. Why? Because the caffeine is going to speed up the flow of juices through the plant. So if there are any blockages, it's going to wake that up. It's going to revitalize the leaves. You can actually wash the leaves down with this as well. Take a cotton wool, soak it in there, wash the leaves down. So coffee and sugar with just a pinch of Epsom salts. Why? For the magnesium. Because this is the time when Phalaenopsis orchids, the ones you get at the picker pockets and the woolly ones, those orchids are going into flower. And they are flowering. They're flowering extensively. And so we can use that. And that same fertilizer you could use for anything that you want to produce more flowers, whether that's a fruit tree or just a plant that you're wanting it to produce flowers. So there you go. Something for you. The Epsom salts is a micronutrient, and that micronutrient is magnesium. If you're in the garden at the moment, you're probably planting stuff and harvesting flowers. So give it a little bit of feeding. We plant these flowers and these plants and these veg and these fruit, and we think, well, you know what? They're in the soil. They'll grow. But no. They need some extra love. And I noticed my pumpkins needed extra love. What I've done is I have, in my little greenhouse, decided for the first time to grow my pumpkins vertically, upright, into the air. And so I have grown them next to the fence wall of the greenhouse, and then I have trained them up. So as they go up, I kind of tie them in place. And what I will now need to do is I will need to, put some bags or stockings around that little pumpkin as it grows so it doesn't break off. But I noticed mildew. With this hectic heat that we've got, 27, what's it? The real feel today is 32 degrees, Asfa. Gosh, 27 degrees, but it feels like 32. I can believe it. And so with this heat and with this humidity comes mildew and all sorts of hohaikis and bugs and things. So if we want to kill the hohaikis, what we need is a spray. We need to spray it down. So as soon as I saw that beginning of mildew on my pumpkin leaves, I thought, gosh darn it, I got to kill you now. And so I got my neem oil out. Neem oil works exceptionally well. That recipe for you, 2 tablespoons of neem oil, 2 tablespoons of dishwash liquid, 2 liters of water. But that's not the end of the recipe. People will make that and say, but I did the recipe, it didn't work. Well, you forgot the second part, which is put it all together, shake it all up, and then let it stand and look at it. Count to 10. If you're counting to 10 and the oil rises to the surface, you need more dishwash liquid. So throw in another teaspoon until shaking it and counting to 10 does not give you the oil at the top. What does it mean? It means now that your pesticide has emulsified. So you can use that for mildew. You can also use a tablespoon of baking soda, a tablespoon of liquid soap, dishwash soap, Castile soap, facial cleansers, if you're really into that kind of thing and it's organic, and 4 cups of water. So dishwash liquid, baking soda, and 4 cups of water. Tablespoon baking, teaspoon liquid soap, and the water. Now you're going to soak it up in the water, let it all dissolve nicely, and spray your plants. Remember to spray the bottom of the leaves as well as the top. We often don't spray the bottom of the leaves. If you're wiping your orchid leaves, you're wiping your anthurium leaves, you are feeding them whatever you're wiping on them. So if it's a fertilizer, it's going to make them grow. If it's a pesticide, it's going to protect them top and bottom of the leaf. You can also, for mildew, as well as for those little white mealy bugs. They call them mealy bugs because they're quite mealy. When you break them, they break up quite easily. You can't miss them. You want to use a milk spray, and it's very easy. 1 part of milk to 2 parts of water. So if you're using a tablespoon of milk, it's 2 tablespoons of water, essentially. Twice the amount. And you want to spray your pesticides late afternoon. So not in the evening when it's cold if it's winter, but in the summer you could do this later in the day, even in the evening, if you wanted to be out, with your plants. But you want to spray the top and the bottom with milk spray. That works well. With your neem oil, that works well. And then, of course, your garlic spray. If you don't know this, it's a whole head of garlic, so a bulb of garlic, a tablespoon of vegetable oil, 4 cups of water, and then 1 teaspoon of liquid soap. The important thing about this garlic spray is the vegetable oil. All of these sprays work in the same fashion. They are going to coat the respiratory system of those nasties, and then they will die because they cannot breathe. And if you cannot breathe, you die. Yes. Asphalt. So, organic home fertilizer here for your tomatoes. Now, at this moment in time, our tomatoes are probably going into flower or fruiting already because we are going into deep summer. It is November and we are going into the deep summer. And the tomatoes, please remember to stake your tomatoes. If your tomato plants are not very strong, as a side note, do you know you can just bury them in deeper? All those little hairs that come out of those tomato stems are potentially a root if it hits the ground. So always remember to plant your tomatoes deeper than you think you want them. So if your tomatoes are not feeling very strong, push them further into the ground. Okay. And you're going to make a compost tea for your tomatoes. This will work for your other veg like eggplants as well. Things that grow on a bush, this works very well. You're going to get yourself some compost from the local nursery or from your compost heap. And you're going to take 1 cup of that and you're going to take 4 liters of water. Now, put the compost into a fabric bag or a piece of fabric that you can tie up and dip that into the water. Let it soak. Soak the compost in the water and then let it stay there for 24 to 48 hours. This is an extremely rich fertilizer. You can use your chicken poop. You can use cow manure as well. Horse manure works brilliantly for this as well. If you're using the animal fertilizer, so the poop from chickens, from cows, from whatever's, you're wanting to actually dilute it further. So instead of using 5 liters for a cup, you're going to use 10 liters of water for a cup. Now your banana peel fertilizer, you will all know, but here's a banana peel fertilizer with a twist. And the twist is aloe vera. Aloe vera helps to make the stems of your plants grow very, very strong. Just like it helps our skin, it helps plants to also get stronger on the outside. And so the stems are very strong. You're going to need 2 to 3 banana peels and you're going to need a half a leaf of aloe vera. So literally a piece about 10, 12 centimeters long. Put that into a blender with water. You need about 4 cups of water for that and blitz it all up together. Blitz it all up together. You can strain it and then you can use that as a liquid fertilizer. You can wipe leaves, you can spray it on the leaves as a foliar fertilizer, or you can pour it into the soil for soil fertilizers. Now, a lot of the things that we use in our kitchen can be used as liquid fertilizers. And one of those things is sweet potato. Sweet potato is very good. Sweet potatoes and onion skins make brilliant fertilizers if we turn them into a tea. So you can use your sweet potato skins. It's the sweet potato skins and the onion skins, not the whole kind of enchilada in there, right? Put it into a blender with water. So again, you're looking at about 1 liter of water to a cup of this mix. Put it into the blender, blitz it together, strain it, and then you can use it. If you wanted to use just the onion leaves, the outside onion skins, you can use that. Brilliant for the orchids as well. Make that onion skin tea and use it for your plants. I've often spoken about onion skin tea for colds and flus, so make double. Leave out the potato, make just the onion skin tea and drink it. It's good for you. It's good for you because it's going to get rid of colds, flus, and sinuses. Brother Asfathili is struggling with the change in weather over here. Onion skin tea, that's what you need. Onion skin tea. So hope you've got your recipes so far. Do send over any recipes that you have, any tips and tricks that you have. We're going to now talk about eggshells. Many of us have snails in the garden at this time of the year. We have slugs in the garden at this time of year, and people will say, oh, throw some salt down. Yes, the salt works, but the salt is not necessarily great for your plants. So eggshells, if you're wanting to do physical damage, eggshells work well because they have sharp edges. Snaily, sluggy will walk over it, slice themselves up, and there you go, they're a goner. But you could use eggshells, the eggshell powder, as a calcium feed for your plants, and that is going to improve the cell structure of your plants, and it's going to make your the walls stronger, the same as aloe vera would do. So you can adjust the pH of your soil as well with eggshells. Eggshells tends to raise the pH of acidic soil. So if you've got very acidic soil and you want to make it a little bit more alkaline, then you're going to add some eggshells. A good one to add to hydrangeas as well. Sister Salma Kazi Wahab and I were talking about hydrangeas the other day because she bought herself a hydrangea. And she said, what shall I do with your hydrangea? And I said, well, you need some calcium if you want to change the color of the flowers. Because if you get white hydrangeas and you want them to be a tad more pink or a tad more blue, then you're going to add calcium or magnesium. The calcium for the pink flowers, the magnesium for the blue. And hey, presto, magnesium, Epsom salts. And if you're wanting the calcium, then you have your eggshells. You can just throw that in. Now, that's going to not only help your plants to be stronger, but as I say, if you're going to use the crushed eggshells, just break them up in your hands, throw them out in your plants, throw them over your pots, just over the soil. It works as a mulch. It keeps the moisture in. We should be mulching at this time of the year anyway, right? Let's talk then. I spoke about coffee. Coffee is a great one to give your plants. If you've got a percolator, then you've got the coffee grounds. If you're making instant coffee, then you've got the coffee liquid. You can use both to fertilize your plants. Again, you can use it as a liquid fertilizer, or you can put it into the ground. Now, if you wanted to strengthen the plants, you could take that same coffee and add to that a pawpaw leaf, pawpaw or papaya, same thing, leaf, and you want to add a little stick of aloe vera. Yeah, this is all things. It's think of yourself as the garden alchemist, and you are alchemizing things to grow your plants, to protect them, to keep them strong. And you can use that as a fertilizer as well. Am I going too fast for you? Are you getting these down? I hope you are. I'm going to give you another recipe, and that is for seaweed fertilizer. Now, I just said salt can be quite dangerous. Too much salt is not a good thing, but fresh seaweed often contains some salt. So make sure that you've rinsed it and removed all the salt from it. Rinse it well, leave it in water for an hour or two, and then take it out and use that seaweed. Any kind of seaweed works fine. You're wanting 5 liters of water and you want about a cup of seaweed. It doesn't matter which seaweed you're using, brown, green, whichever. Soak the seaweed in water for about 2 weeks, strain the liquid, and there you go. Seaweed is very rich. It's got lots of trace minerals. It's going to promote good growth. And you can use seaweed. So think about the world as a place where things give to things. Unfortunately, people don't always give to people. Story for another day. But we are supposed to be a system that helps one another out. And so we've got plants helping plants to grow, plants helping other plants to fight off infections, disease, fungi. Then we've got a fish emulsion fertilizer that you can make as well. Now, you're going to need to buy fish emulsion, but it's literally a cup of fish emulsion to 4 liters of water, and that's particularly for your fruit trees. We had a question the other day with regard to anthuriums. And, you know, anthuriums, like fruit trees, actually do well with a tiny little bit of tin. Yes, tin. So if you've got some tuna cans that you've opened, some tins of beans that you've opened, don't throw them out. Every now and then, throw one into your compost heap or bury one in the garden. In fact, speaking of fish emulsion, if you were to bury not your tinned fish, because that contains oil unless you wash it, right? If you were to bury fish in your garden, it works very, very, very well as a plant food. So if you're making, let's say you're making prawns and you cut the heads off, before you put it into any oil, stick them in the ground. Give them to the plants. The world is giving to the world. People be giving to people if they're good people. So Bone meal fertilizer. Here we have another one. We all know the importance of bone meal in strengthening plants, particularly when you are first putting them into the tree, into the base of the tree. You need about 1 or 2 cups, depending on the size of the tree, for planting trees. And so you need 1 or 2 cups of bone meal. But mix that bone meal into water before you throw it into the ground. We find people make a hole in the ground, they throw their bone meal in, they throw their compost in, and then they plonk the tree in. But now, the bone meal is not as easily accessible as if it were first diluted in water. It's not going to dilute completely, but it's going to eke out a goodness into the water. And then that water is going to be taken up by the plant, and then slowly it will give the rest of the bone will decompose and give that to your plant. It's rich in phosphorus, so that is for roots and it is for your flowers. So this is the time to be giving things the bone meal. Are you wanting to make bone meal at home? Are you? Very, very, very easy. You need some chicken scraps, as in bones. If you're going to the butchery, you can get some bones there. Or if you are prepping chicken and you're deboning a chicken, keep those bones aside. Keep those bones aside. Feed them. Freeze them. This is where you must freeze them. And then you're going to take all of those bones when you're ready. You can be beef bones, chicken bones, fish bones, a mix of all those types of bones. And you put them into a large pot or into a pressure cooker. Cook them up. Cook them soft. Once they're cooked soft, you can use that water, strain the water in case there's bits of flesh on there, but you can use that water to water the garden firstly, and then you can also use the bones by dehydrating. So first you cook them, then you dry them. Dry them in the oven, and you can dry them at a low temperature. It takes about 3 to 4 hours to dry those bones out to the point that you can actually powder them, save them in a tin. And use that bone meal. It is wonderful stuff for our plants. So store them in a sealed, airtight container always. I spoke to you about pawpaw leaves. Pawpaw leaves are so helpful. And there's so much pawpaw out on the market. They're easy to grow. They do grow in pots. They don't have to be as tall as the house, so you can't reach them. You can actually cut that pawpaw tree down lower. You just need to make sure to seal off that trunk after you have cut it, and then you can have pawpaw leaves accessible for you. Pawpaw leaves are great for your garden, but did you know that you can actually tenderize steak with the milk that comes from pawpaw leaves? As far as you go, yes, you can. It actually breaks down protein. So all you need is a couple of drops of the milk sap from the pawpaw. And that's actually how they make meat tenderizer. If you get the good stuff, then it's made from the milk, the sap from the pawpaw. And that's all that we have time for today. So many, many, many recipes for you. And next week, we'll be joining you again. But for this week, just remember, today is a very, very, very good day to be happy. It is a beautiful day. And I want to read you something before I leave. I want to read you something that struck me today. And it says, whoever tries to help a butterfly come out of its cocoon kills it. Whoever attempts to help a bud emerge from the seed destroys it. Whoever tries to awaken the mind of someone who is not ready confuses him. There are certain things that cannot be helped. They must happen from the inside out, just like our health, just like our gardening. So from me, from Brother Asfat Fili, our sound engineer, the entire team at Radio Al Ansar, we will see you next week, same time, same place. From us until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Leaves are green. There's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen.